Sumedha from the Podio product team, and I have my colleague Bill with me for today's session. Today, we'll be talking about Citrix Podio, which is a part of the Citrix Work Solutions product portfolio. We'll start the session with a brief introduction of what Podio is and what its capabilities are. Then we'll give you a walkthrough of the apps in Podio and how flexible they are. And then we'll go on to take a look at Podio Workflow Automation, PWA, which is one of the most used features of Podio. And we'll see how it can help you save both time and money. Podio started with a simple vision that the power to manage work is back where it originated, with the people who do the job. And keeping this in mind, it evolved into the amazing low-code tooling platform that it is today. It has been able to empower its users to work the way they want by providing them the flexibility and power in a simple way. It's ensured that teams are able to structure their data in Podio and at the same time communicate and collaborate at the same place. And this is exactly how Podio has stood the test of time as a user-centric product. And how do we know it has been successful so far in achieving this vision? The answer lies in the numbers. Citizen developers on Podio till date have created 1.8 billion items, 26 million apps, and 3.7 million automated workflows. So what exactly is Citrix Podio? In short, it's a low-code business solution which helps teams customize their work and communication. It helps organizations keep their business and customer data together. Podio serves as a structured system of records and has the power to automate processes and workflows. Any kind of work that you do, whether it's accounting, it's designing, it's project management, sales, marketing, etc., your team can leverage Citrix Podio to keep a track of your work. We've seen Podio being used both by SMBs and enterprises. The benefit it provides to SMBs is that because it is such a flexible platform, it helps them to optimize business costs because all that they need now is a single license tool. Instead of having Salesforce for CRM, then having Zendesk for support tickets, then having another solution for project management, they can have one solution, which is Citrix Podio, which can help all these teams at the same time. The benefit it provides to enterprises which already use an array of different products is that it acts as a Citrix own system of record for Citrix Workspace. And we'll be seeing it in a couple of sessions to come. Now, before we dive into a live walkthrough of Citrix Podio, what is really important is to understand the structure of Podio. This will help you understand how the data is organized in Citrix Podio. So the highest in the hierarchy is an organization, which is nothing but a legal entity. An organization further consists of various workspaces. A single workspace correlates to, say, a particular team in that organization or a particular set of individuals who are working on a common project. Now, each workspace further consists of multiple apps. An app is nothing but a collection of structured data. So, for example, in the organization Zaxpeed, there might be several teams like the marketing team, the sales team, the product development team, the support team, etc. And all these teams will have separate workspaces. Now, a particular team, say the sales team, will have a collection of different data. For example, they'll have a collection of all the sales leads that they have. They'll have a collection of all the sales representatives that they have. They'll have a collection of all the deals which are still in progress or which have been approved, etc. So all these will appear as separate apps in the workspace for the sales team. Now, an app further consists of individual data points. These individual data points could be one single sales lead, one single sales representative, a single deal, etc. Let us now deep dive into a demo of Citrix Podio. So for the sake of this demo, I've created a dummy organization called Zaxpeed, which consists of different workspaces like the marketing workspace, the sales workspace, the support workspace, etc. For the scope of today's demo, I want to show you how you can leverage Citrix Podio for an ad hoc use case. For example, suppose you want to host an event like Converge itself. So you can have a dedicated workspace for the event, which is called Converge event. Now, an event will definitely have a collection of all the sessions that will be a part of it. So we can create our own app. We can either create our own app or we can go to the app market and, get one of the predefined templates and customize it. But I want to show you how to create an app from scratch. So I'll select this. Now, the app name would probably be sessions because it is a collection of all the sessions that we are having for this event. And an item name, which is one single line item, will be called a session. We can now choose an appropriate app icon and we can create on click app. Now, the session will probably have a session title. It'll have a session description, which will be a multi-line field. Then it'll have a date. The date should have a time field and it should also have an end date. So we'll say require end date. Then because we get a lot of session proposals, however, it's not all the sessions that we can accommodate. So we will have to reject some and accept some. So we'll probably have a status field as well, which will be proposed, approved, rejected, or scheduled. And yeah, this pretty much sums up what a session app will look like. Let us now create an item over here. So say the session name will be low code tooling using Citrix Podio. We can add a session description, something similar. We can have a session date, something like 11 a.m. on 26th. And we can say this is in the proposed state. I can also upload any of the PPTs that I might be using for the session over here. And I simply save it. Now, what I've done is I've added a couple of more sessions. And another thing that we forgot about is this list of speakers. So what use is a session if it doesn't have a speaker? So I took the liberty of creating another app for speakers and I did an Excel import of this list of 20 speakers that we might have. So now the next challenge is how do we link the sessions to the speakers? Because a single session can have multiple speakers and a single speaker can be conducting multiple sessions. So what we simply do is we go to modify template and we add a relationship field, which will help us link the sessions app to the speakers app. Now we need to select apps for reference and we select the speakers app. This will help us create a relationship between the sessions app and the speakers app. We can rename it to speaker. And now for each session, we can select the speaker who will be conducting that session. We can have one speaker or two speaker. Similarly, for this session as well, I will select speakers. So this gives us a good overview of, which speaker will be speaking at which session. And in the speakers app, we can go to Harper and we can see that which all sessions will Harper be conducting. So this helps us form a link between the two apps. Now let us consider another scenario where the sessions have a proposed budget associated to them as well. So whenever a person proposes a session, they also propose a session budget, which could be to, distribute some goodies, some handouts, etc. So we can have another, it won't be a number, but rather money. So we can have another field called budget asked for. We save it. And then maybe we want to have a scenario wherein if the session has been approved, then the budget asked for also gets approved. Otherwise, it doesn't. So we can have a calculation field over here, which is the approved budget. And we can use a condition over here, which could something be like, if the status of the session is equal to approved, then the approved budget will be equal to the budget asked for. Otherwise, it will be 0. So let us save this and let us now fill in these fields. So if suppose the budget asked for is $500, since the session right now is still in the proposed state, the approved budget is 0. As soon as the session gets approved, the approved budget also gets equal to the budget asked for. So this way we can make use of some calculation fields and perform some real-time calculations in the app template. For today's audience, which is you developers, I also want to talk about how you can build on Citrix Podio. You can leverage our APIs to develop extensions. We already have 50 plus extensions in our extensions market, which you can see at podio.com/extensions. You can also build solutions by integrating Citrix Podio with other third-party products like Zendesk, Outlook, Gmail, QuickBooks, etc. You can also build app packs with workflows which contain scripts, calculation fields, etc. We truly believe that Podio has not only been used for the vertical use cases like CRM project management, but also to customize these use cases for various industries like real estate, accounting, etc. And it is this flexibility which truly powers Podio. We now move on to find out more about Podio workflow automation. Like I mentioned before, this is one of the most sought after features of Podio. Podio workflow automation helps you automate your daily workflows. It consists of a trigger, a filter, and an action. The trigger starts the workflow, the filter checks if certain conditions are met, and the action performs some work for you. As you can see, we have multiple triggers, filters, and actions available. PWA helps you to automate everyday work to save time, money, and most importantly, your sanity. You can create workflows to automatically create or update records, to assign tasks, to send some customized emails, etc. This helps you boost your productivity and save your man hours by, delegating the manual work to PWA. You can also get visual feedback by turning any report into a graph or a chart using PWA. You can also enforce compliance using PWA in the way that you get notifications when any record is added, any record is updated, anything which is added violates your business rules. You can trigger workflows when some time-sensitive records reach or exceed their target dates, etc. And now Bill is going to help us see how you can really create a Podio workflow and, take advantage of all these benefits which it provides us.
At this point in our presentation, I'm going to show a hands-on demonstration of Podio with workflow automation. I'll start with a blank workspace that I've created within my Podio organization. I'm going to install an app pack from the Podio app market. One of the most popular use cases for Podio is for CRM. Podio is a really good platform for building highly customized and automated CRMs, and this app pack for sales management is a great starting point. I'll click Get Pack to install the apps. I'll click See Install Pack, and I'll notice that all 6 apps from the pack have been installed, and I've got some pre-created tiles on my workspace homepage as well. This particular app pack includes Podio workflow automation flows. So after I install the app pack into my workspace, I can navigate to the Podio workflow automation console to install those flows. I'll select my organization in the left-hand pane of the Podio workflow automation console, and I'll click Refresh from Podio. And you'll notice that the flows from this app pack will be installed into my workspace. Now that the flows have been installed, I can check any errors or warnings. I can see that there's a warning related to one of the flows that's installed into the Agreements app. So I can click on this warning and it tells me that I need to configure my right signature integration. I can verify that that's set up here. I can enable the flow and click Save. Next, I'll show you these workflow automations in action as the end user sees them, and then I'll go behind the scenes to the Podio workflow automation console to show you how the flows are constructed. I'll use the Agreements app. The Agreements app is used for generating agreement documents that are sent to prospective customers that can be electronically signed using right signature. So I'll create an agreement. I'll select the particular deal that I'm working on. I'll select a signer. Note that these 2 fields pull from the Deals app and the Contacts app, respectively. I'll go ahead and save the agreement. And the next thing I can do is enter the merge field data. I'll select an effective date. I'll select the agreement details. And I'll select an agreement amount. In this particular deal, it's $45,000. So the next thing I can do as an end user is create a preview of this agreement. Before I route it to the customer, I'll want to make sure that the document looks good. Now I'll go behind the scenes to the Podio workflow automation console. You can see that there's a flow called 1-2 Generate Agreement Preview. I'll click Edit so you can see how this works. These filter criteria are what trigger the button click action. So when I click this button, Create Preview PDF, in the Ask Podio To field, and where before the field was not Create Preview PDF, these actions will trigger. So you can see that another flow will be triggered, 2-1 Generate Agreement PDF, and the agreement will be updated to a status of Preview attached below. So Generate Agreement PDF is what's actually going to create the PDF that's eventually going to be routed for electronic signature. You can see that the main action in this flow is this Create PDF and attach it to this item. If I open this up, you can see this is the format of the PDF, and it includes the merge variables. So for example, the agreement details here comes from the agreement details field here. In addition, the agreement amount and the effective date in a formatted form is added as well. You'll notice that this agreement is pre-signed by the sending party, and there are some text tags which are used by Right Signature. SAR is a signature tag for party A, and it is a required field. This text tag is for a date field for party A to fill in, and it's required. And you'll see how these get substituted by Right Signature when it's sent for electronic signature to be signature fields and a date field. Now we can see in the activity stream that the preview PDF has been created and it's attached to the files section. So I'll go ahead and click on that. And the end user can preview this document, make sure it looks good, make sure all the merge variables are what they want. You'll notice that it's pre-signed with the current day's date. And if everything looks good, we can close this out and go back and click Send for Signature. And this will route to the signer's email address. So now you can see that the date sent for signature has been updated. The status has been updated to sent. And this is what the customer sees in their email inbox. An email from Right Signature with the agreement, with their name, company name, and a button to click where they can review and sign the document. Once they click the button, they can see the document with their specific information. And this is where, before we talked about the text tags, the SAR text tag gets converted into a signature pad. They can either sign with their mouse or they can sign with their keyboard, and then they can date, and then they can click Submit Signature. And if we switch back to the agreement itself, what we're going to see is that the status is updated to signed, the date signed is set up, and furthermore, if we go back to the deal, we'll see that the deal status or deal stage was updated to signed, the closing probability of the deal was updated to 100, and the closing date and closed deal values were automatically updated. So I'll show you which workflow automations triggered to perform these automations. There is a flow on the Agreements app that is triggered on when a file is signed in Right Signature. And you can see that when that file comes back, the agreement is updated to a status of signed, the date signed gets updated to the current date and time. Furthermore, we traverse using a get referenced item action to the deal that's related to the agreement, and we update the deal stage to signed as we showed. In addition, we trigger another flow on the collected deal called 1-1-1 update company after deal close or quote signed. There's a comment put in the agreement as well. And I'll show you how the other automations trigger. Flow 1.1.1 updates the closing probability to 100, updates the deal value, the closing date, and then updates the related company if needed to the status of customer. So if it was previously a lead, it'll get converted to a status of customer. And it'll notify anyone following that customer record, such as a sales manager or another rep, that the deal has closed. So you can see how all these workflow automations are put together. Finally, what I'm going to show you how to do is how to customize the Agreements app and the workflows related to them so that you can add your own merge fields into a document. So let's take the example where we want to add the payment terms into the document that the customer signs. What we can do is in the Agreements app, we can modify the template. We can scroll down here to the merge field section, and we can drag a category field into the app. We'll call this payment terms, and we'll add a few options here: net 30, net 60, and net 90. And we can color code these a little bit differently for each one. And then we can save that. So now we have the ability to set the effective date, the agreement details, the agreement amount, and payment terms. So what we need to do in our workflow automation console is make sure that we add this into our PDF. So I will go ahead and refresh my workspace so that it is aware of this new field that I've added. And I can go into my agreements, app flows. I can open up the generate agreement PDF flow. And I can go to the section where we can add in payment terms. I can select that new payment terms variable token. And I'll put an underscore on either side of this and make sure it's underlined so that it appears correctly. And now when we save this flow and we generate previews or send this for signature, it'll include the payment terms that we've selected. Let me make one slight adjustment here. I'm going to go ahead and make the payment terms a required field. And with a category field like this, what it's going to do is default to net 30. So it allows you to set a default value on this field. So I'll go ahead and click Create Preview PDF. And you can see that the payment terms were included in the PDF that was routed for signature. So that concludes our demonstration of Podio with Podio Workflow Automation and the integration with Write Signature. And we just did this demonstration in less than 15 minutes, so you can see how powerful Podio is and how quickly you can get up and running with a very flexible and comprehensive system.